Hello and welcome to episode 23 of Strange Origin Podcast. I've actually got two guests today, but
Yes.
one of them is, one of them's a recurring guy. It's Rod, just Rod.
Thanks.
And the other special guest, the more special one than Rod, is
Yay.
Yitskhaq. He's back, the dancer.
Yay.
Thank you, baby.
Yes, you.
Yeah. No, we thought we'd have like an extra guest like once we started to establish ourselves, and I think like Rod and I are established now in talking to each other. He doesn't get in my way. So.
No, it makes sense. I
But
agree.
how you been, Yitskhaq? Have you been good?
I've been good. Like really good. You know,
Yeah.
Surviving the COVID life.
Well, yeah.
Enjoying.
Apparently, one that's coming to an end soon, according to
Yes.
the prophet
yeah.
Boris.
Yes. The man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah.
The Merlin of London.
Yeah. He knows what's up. Like, apparently, he can predict the future. But as long as you make mistakes and apologize afterwards, it's fine, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's that hair of his, man.
Yeah. He's constantly stressed,
Oh,
that man.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So, like, you wanted to talk to us about a topic because I was actually talking to you today for about, I think it was an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah. Now
It was a long phone call.
Yeah.
And in the end, I was just like, do you want to just come on the podcast? I think
I was like, yeah.
yeah, let's think about this. Actually, talk about this and
Yeah.
get other people's opinion on it.
Mhm.
But it was.
Yes.
You said you were doing reflecting, right, when you were walking and stuff like that.
Yeah, so recently, like I would say like for the past like 2 weeks, I've been like watching and like reading a lot of like just deep, general like thoughts of like what people like in our society are like. What's like the common things. Like for example, some of them has been like how dating is in our society, how people why people behave certain ways in our society or this and that, and like, why people do this. Like so. There's a YouTuber that I watch. It's called Abin Preach, and they cover up like a lot of situations like that, and then they have their opinion about it. And since then, I think it's started to open up more.
It's sort of like societal questions.
Yeah, questions. Yeah,
about race and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, race and people's opinions and preferences and all that. So it gives me more of an understanding how people think.
Yeah, because you asked me a specific question today.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I panicked when you first asked me because you literally rang me up and was like, "Yeah, I've just something on my mind. I just wanted to talk to you." I was like, "What the fuck's happening? Is he in trouble? Like, what's going on here?" I was like panicking, like, "Oh shit, maybe he doesn't want to move out. I don't know, like, what's going on?"
No.
And he just hits me with this philosophical question, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh shit, let me think."
Yeah, I don't pull my punches. I just throw it in. Don't ease you in.
So what was
but-
so go on, ask your question to the group.
Yeah. So the question is I said to Jack earlier on today was do you think that mixed race people suffer identity crisis more than a singular race person?
Yeah, see, I think it's like that's actually quite an interesting topic about it because I've never really up until when Yitskhaq asked me, I never really thought about it in terms of like I guess us and them sort of thing. Like, I never really thought of it being any different. I was always in school. I was always sort of like anyone could be anyone and everyone's equal sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I guess as I got older, I've started to realize that
it's not like that.
it's not really and people, even though we are all equal, people start on different playing fields, and they start on different levels on that scale, and they have certain advantages and disadvantages, and so everyone is technically equal, but they don't start off equal, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I was saying to you, Shek, because obviously I'm mixed race. I'm half Iranian, half English, so it's for me. I think I definitely struggled with an identity thing, with heritage. I didn't know really who to be, I guess, and I wasn't really exposed to one of my cultures more than the other. Obviously, growing up in England, one of my cultures is English, so I was exposed to that one far more greater than my Iranian heritage. So it was always quite foreign to me. It was almost like I was learning about this other culture, but it wasn't me. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, and it's a part of you.
Yeah. And it wasn't until I got older that I realized, you know what? No, it is a part of me. But that being said, I was never ashamed of it. If someone always asked me, I'd always say I am half English, half Iranian. And they'll go what country's that? Like, where's that? I got that so many times. Just will know that because obviously we went to school
Yeah,
together.
no.
It was just
it's
all,
massive.
they were like, "Do you mean Iraq?" And it's like, "Yeah, I was actually mistaken about my own country.
Yeah.
Like, I
You're
misspoke.
just-
Like, what the fuck are you talking about?"
You're just being racist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It annoyed me because obviously in those days more people had heard of Iraq than Iran.
Yeah. Especially what happened like with the whole
Yeah.
Yeah, like
America thing
terrorism
as well.
and all that stuff. Like
Everyone
I've
just
got
went out for everything.
the amount of jokes I got. It's like, haha, yeah, you're a funny guy, you white fuck. But like, it was always just like, oh, you know, you what was it back then?
Did your
It was Al
family
Qaeda,
do
wasn't it?
9/11?
Yeah,
Al-Qaeda.
oh,
Oh,
Yeah,
my God.
it was
yeah.
like,
Al-Qaeda.
oh, you remember like
Or the
Al
Taliban.
Qaeda or the Taliban? Yeah, and it's like,
Yeah.
yep, that's me. You good old Taliban, like walking down the street. And I was saying again to Yitskhaq actually, like the uniqueness was that I was actually the only Iranian in my school, like, or half Iranian, I guess, but I was the only one from that culture. And what annoyed me so much was being like, oh, so you're from Iran, right? You're Middle East. Like, oh yeah, you must get on well with the Indians and the Pakistanis and all that. It's like, what are you talking about? We're a different culture, like completely different.
Yeah.
What do you think about it, Rod? Because it's interesting to hear from like your perspective.
Like honestly, like for me, like when I first came here, like I didn't know how to act because when I first came here, like I went to school, right? I was doing like for me what was normal, but it turned out for other people who were like basically like white and black, they were like, what the fuck are you doing? What you're eating something weird. You're playing this game weird. What the fuck are you doing? So it's like for me, I didn't know how to like be around people because if I showed too much of me being just like my normal self, like my culture and stuff, like it's looked at as like weird and like, and it's just like, so I had to like adapt in a way like where to like please other people.
Because I was gonna say you're coming from a different kind of perspective. Like you're not mixed.
Like,
no, but you've come to a different country. So it's like it's sort of like a mixed culture there because you're now adapting to a new culture coming from one. One. So it's interesting.
And for me, like what shocked me is like when what my parents used to give me for like lunches, basically. Because for me, like when I'd get lunches back in primary school, it's like I'd get like rice and like meat, right? That's my normal lunch. But for other kids, they were like, "Why the fuck are you having dinner now?" I'm like, what?
Yeah,
this is just lunch for me. Like
that actually makes that reminds me. That just gave me a memory back in my head of when I went to a trip. It was a history trip for like Jack the Ripper or something like that. And,
oh no!
And one kid came who was Asian who brought rice. And everyone was like, "What? Like, what are you doing?" And it was sticky rice as well. So everyone was like, "But it's all clumped up. It's like, oh, you no shit, right?" Yeah. They were like, "It's cooked wrong. It's all clumpy." I was like, "You're dumb." Literally, everyone was like, "What the fuck? That's weird." I literally went to him and was like, "You can do that." Like I want rice for my lunch. That's great.
Pocket rice.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like
when I first saw sticky rice, I thought the first thing that came to my mind was pocket rice.
You just gonna keep it in your pocket.
No, we had when you just because I saw it wrapped up, so that the whole the rice ball.
Yeah.
When I first saw it, it was all wrapped up, so I was thinking, oh, so some ones we can just unwrap it, put it in your mouth.
Yeah. So kind of like the Japanese triangle, the rice ball ones.
Yeah. Something like
onigiri, or there's one in Hawaii called musubi. So you basically just put it in your pocket. So it's it's basically like spam wrapped with seaweed and rice, and you just clean from it, and put it in the pocket.
Every time I watch
the first thing came to mind was pocket rice. And I was like,
every time I watch like anime and stuff, and I see them eating like the onigiri and stuff, I'm like, oh, I want that. I want that. So like I can understand as well, like how somebody would be scared. Like say that person got bullied then, or told not to do that, or he got made to feel weird, which he probably did. Like he's sort of like you can kind of see him like kind of hide and not want to do that anymore. Like that's kind of like what it felt like for me. So like when I was mixed like it didn't stop. But when I was in school, when I was mixed, like it was sort of like I should act English.
Yeah.
But then the other the other aspect of it is people saying like well you're not really white, like a lot of white people knew I wasn't white. And then a lot of other people who didn't know I was not white would say you're just white. So it was sort of like you don't fit into any one system. You don't fit there and you don't fit here. Like it's a weird one. Like and I think like it's not balanced. Like when you because when you get home you obviously those are the only people that are like you.
Yeah.
But then,
And like,
in a weird way, kind of your mum and your dad aren't also like you
Yeah.
because you're mixed. It's like you're unique, and your brothers and sisters, maybe if you've got them, are like the only ones that you know at the moment that are like you.
yeah.
So it's weird. I don't know if it's easier. Like I'm not gonna speak on behalf of all mixed people, but
Yeah.
like just out of the people I know, like it's very much like there is like some sort of identity crisis. Because like, I mean, Mark, who used to obviously co-host with me, when we went to Philippines together, they knew he wasn't Filipino, like fully, and they treated him differently. So I don't know. It's like you do kind of get that like not even your, like, I guess air quotations, own people accept you. You know, I don't know what that's like. You were talking about that today, actually, Rod, right?
Yeah. So basically in Philippines, there's like I watched a documentary basically, and like it's basically when people go abroad and basically like have a relationship there and basically have a kid there because of the Filipino like sort of Catholic that they can't abort. That's basically
Yeah.
against their religion, right?
Yeah.
So they're basically forced to keep that kid, and then some of those kids are like, but basically half black and half Filipino. And then I saw in one documentary where they're basically being called a word in my language that's basically saying, you're black and also you're an indigenous people.
Mm.
And it's like that kid, I could hear in his voice like he doesn't know what to do because he talks Filipino, he acts Filipino, yet just because of his color, people would just naturally just call him like this word, and it's like it's so harsh, man. This kid didn't know what the fuck to do. He didn't know like how to act, and he's just like lost. Like he wished he could like act a certain way, but because of his skin tone, people look down on him, and I think that's what's sad
Yeah,
about the whole thing. And
Yeah.
it definitely is, like, because it reminds me of like because I was talking to my girlfriend today, and she was saying like that kind of different kind of mixed race, which I didn't really think about, which was because where she's from an island. It's
a mix of people.
It's mixed. Like you are, Mauritian, but
Yeah.
you're mixed. You're like
Okay.
so it's like because you've got like black and like Middle Eastern like in you. So it's like you're mixed, but you are from one culture. If that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Oh,
Yeah,
do
yeah.
you know what's weird though? Sorry.
Yeah.
When I found out that Shat was Mauritius, I had this one classmate. She's Chinese.
Yeah.
For me, she looks Chinese, right? But she's Mauritius, and I was like, wait, hold up.
Yeah.
Apparently, her parents has been there for a while, but it's just her culture. I think
So that's
they
like the thing is that they can be
Mm.
mixed, but like still be Mauritian.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
And it's quite interesting. I don't know if you know anything about
because
that.
funny
Isha.
enough, when you think about it, Shads and Rocks are both Mauritius, but they do look different.
They do.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah. Like
And
they've got some similarities, but they look quite
yeah, you
different.
can see there's a different mix in them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's similarities here, but yeah, there's feels like one of them has probably got more of one and then the other. And
Yeah, and I think that's what's
you-
quite interesting. Is like
Yeah.
you can kind of still even be mixed, like unless she lived on the island, like she'd be
Yeah.
fine, I guess. Like in terms of identity crisis we're talking about. But
See.
Yeah.
as soon as she moved away, like they have, and if they're in England now, everyone sort of goes, I don't know, like where you're
where
from.
you, like from.
yeah.
I
And-
can't lie, that was the first thing that came in my head when I first met Shads and Rocks. I could not pinpoint
Yeah.
where they were from.
No.
Mm.
Like, and I remember talking to Shads about it and saying like, I enjoy it, like finding out where people are from because I'm also mixed and from an
Yeah.
like not obscure country, but not many people, at least when I
Know
was
about the
growing up,
country.
knew about it. And
Yeah.
it was kind of interesting to. I would always be fascinated of where people came from. That's why, like, when Mark was Filipino, I was like, I don't know many Filipinos. That's awesome. Like,
Yeah.
or like,
Till you meet me, baby.
Yeah.
like, do you know what I mean? Like, seeing people from different countries I didn't really know was so good
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
But she mistook that, like, or she would have mistaken that for sort of like going, are you one of us, sort of thing, if you know what I mean? Like, because imagine if all you get asked every single time is like, where are you from? What's your heritage?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and you just go like, when someone says to you, where are you from? You go, England. And they go, no, but where are you actually from?
Yeah, I like
Like-
where your parents are from.
Yeah, and that must get jarring, like so jarring to you. You just got to keep hearing it over and over again until eventually you get annoyed whenever someone asks you that.
Mm.
So it's one of those things where it's because I used to get that a lot. It's sort of like, oh, where you from? Like, and it was sort of where you're from with their eyebrows sort of furrowed. sort of like
Oh, like
Yeah.
they
and-
look up on you like, where you from? Like,
yeah, and I go, well, I'm England. I live in England. Like, and they go, yeah, but
yeah.
have you got any mix? And I'm like, yeah. And then they go, ah.
Yeah.
And then that's it. And then I don't.
You one of those
and it's
kids,
sort of
eh?
like they go, I knew something wasn't right about you. Like, do you know what I mean? And it's just like, excuse me, like the fuck.
Something off about your collar.
Yeah, like, oh, can I
Can't give
trust
me
you?
some
like, and I don't know. Me and Yitskhaq were talking about that today, like, of how if you're black and someone sees another black person, they instantly go, all right, we can talk. Like, sort of.
Yeah.
Like we're brothers. Like
Yeah.
And
Best friends.
because that happens to me all the time, but that also happens to like Middle Eastern people as well. Like, because Yitskhaq and I used to work together, and there was a chef who just started chatting to me, and I remember going to Yitskhaq, I was like, I don't understand why he keeps talking to me. I don't know him like that well. And then like he goes like, and then like halfway through the day he goes, oh, you're Muslim, right? And I was like, no. Like,
Oh God.
and he just assumed I was Muslim because of the way I looked, and it was just sort of like, oh, we're friends because of that.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't blame them. I think it's them trying to find some common ground and common footing, and it's them trying to find, I guess, again, air quotations, allies in a white world, basically.
Yeah.
So
being a minority and then trying to find somebody with a similarity.
yeah, who have gone through some of the same stuff as you, and I kind of get it, but at the same time, like, you know, this is 2021 now.
And also, it doesn't hurt to ask. Like, you know.
Yeah.
He only asks like halfway through the day when he's already told me his fucking family life story and stuff. Like, I've got a
Like,
character
you know
arc
the
about this
story
guy.
as A lot of, come to that as well. A lot of people that force like those conversations, they try to give you a story where they think that you know of the story as well.
Yeah, it's
Where
like,
you're
oh,
trying
you
to
know.
Like, oh, yeah, you know. And I'm like, oh, but I don't.
Yeah, I really don't, man. Like,
Fill me in, bro. Anytime.
And the shock in their face when you tell them that, yeah, it's hilarious. It is one of the funniest things.
yeah,
To do because I got like somebody assumed that I was Muslim due to my name,
right, yeah.
Oh,
and I was like, no, I'm not. And then the person the face that the person pulled, yeah, was like, but your name.
It's like, but this is wrong.
That's like with me.
Like why?
Yeah.
Why I'm not Muslim? Yeah.
But that's like me when they hear my name. Oh, you must be Spanish. I'm like,
yeah, because it's
I'm
Rodrigo,
just,
isn't it? Yeah.
I'm Filipino, bro, and I'm.
But see, anyone
Spanish invaded.
Yeah, exactly. Anyone who knows even a shred of details about Philippines knows that's why. So you wouldn't assume like straight away anyway. It's just like it's just ignorance usually when it comes to that sort of stuff, you know.
But it's like it just kind of just shows though, like we the way when we see like people, we just see like color, right?
Yeah.
Immediately we just see like even if they're not from that country or culture, we just assume like immediately.
That's why
like when I saw Shad, I thought she was Indian or something.
Yeah,
but when she told me
she
she
gets
was
that a lot, and it annoys her.
Yeah, like no joke.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to offend you. Like,
yeah,
it's just ingrained to my head.
As
Yeah,
long as
exactly.
you're respectful about it, I don't see it as a problem. Like, you weren't making like any negative assumptions about her.
No.
Like, you didn't say any stereotypical things straight after. Like,
you didn't discriminate her or judge her.
No, you just sort of went, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to like assume where you were, like from. And I get that. I think that's the way it should be done. I think things can be done respectfully. It's just you don't then go, man, you just look Indian though. Like,
yeah,
you know
exactly.
What I mean? You don't say stuff like that.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
like, what do you want them to say in response? Like, well, sorry. Like, sorry, you were wrong. Like,
I didn't mean to offend you with my existence.
Yeah. Like, maybe you're not as smart as you think. Like, I don't know. Like, it happens as well. Like, because like you can say, some people can sometimes be purposefully like vague. So like you would say to someone like, "Oh, where are you from?" And they go, "I'm Caribbean." So yeah, but where? I ask like where you're from, because I could just easily go like, "I'm from Europe." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like that happens a lot in like America. It's like if someone was to go, "Oh, where are you from?" "I'm European." And they go, "Oh, really? That's cool." Like, and then they walk away and it's done. Like, it's like,
what a great conversation.
Yeah, like it's again they're trying to find like I guess that's where their way of trying to find allies as well, right?
Yeah.
Trying to find out if you're pure white or something.
Also, when I've been getting told like where I'm from, because I'm like both parents are from the Caribbean, are both Jamaican, so I'm literally one country.
Yeah.
When I get asked that, people assume that I'm mixed in some way, because they like a lot of people when somebody asks me, "Is like, oh, where you from?"
Yeah.
I think people tend to not be offensive But I assume because like when they ask me, I'm like literally the most cliche. Black
I have nothing else inside
and,
me.
yeah,
Like,
like, I'm the most cliche. So if you see I'm from the Caribbean, I'm not gonna be offended.
yeah, yeah,
But they look at me and like, so where are you from? And in my head, I'm like, you must think it's either there's only like 2 countries that you can see I'm from, either Africa or the Caribbean or Jamaica. Like, I'm not like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. It's
the 2
true.
areas.
Like,
But
it's difficult because that question alone is becoming hard to ask.
it is.
Like,
So
it's
I
like,
think a lot
oh,
of
where you
people
from?
start to become offended
Oh yeah, yeah.
by saying.
And I understand that, but I am genuinely interested. Like,
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like, and I think that's hard to convey sometimes. Like, I'm genuinely. I don't mean it in a bad way, but I don't like the fact that I could sit in a room and everyone's from the same culture. Like,
Yeah.
I kind of like it when there's so much diversity. That's what we've always had. Even our friendship groups back down to when I was in primary school. Like,
Yes.
I've always had diversity in like who I'm talking to, and I didn't do it on purpose. It just happened because of the schools I went into.
And
like-
it just felt natural, right?
And
Like,
and I was diverse myself. Like, I'm not
yeah.
100% English, so it's just like
'Cause-
felt good, you know.
Because weirdly enough, like in the sense of like growing up and in my group, I think now that I'm thinking about it now, I think I just thrive to the minority, like in the sense of people's race.
Yeah,
Like I just end up being friends with people that are the minority. So when I was in primary school, I was like, there was only 2 black boys in my class, including myself. And like just from that alone, then going to secondary school, my friend group, none of them was black. Like my main friend group, none of them were just like me, Caribbean.
right.
All of them were everybody was either mixed or
Yeah, see,
everybody
like
was mixed.
in my
That's like
in
what
my
I mean.
in my primary school, like like white was the minority. Like no
man.
joke, white was the minority.
No, I was a minority in my school, in my primary
Okay.
school. There was like one Chinese kid, and me. I came along, and they just assumed that we're in the same country. So I was
Oh
like,
my god. Yeah.
okay.
I mean, that was back in like I don't know what 2000s.
Nice.
like 2000s,
90s,
2000s.
Fuck yeah.
2000s.
Like
90s,
1-year-old
man.
walking around. Yo, what's up, G? No, but like it was around the 2000s when we went to primary school and stuff, and it's just like
Yeah.
there was still prejudice back then, even though that's 20 years ago now, I guess, but it's still like there were prejudices then,
Yeah.
like all the way back then, you know,
Yeah.
and it still are. Like, it hasn't changed, I guess, but people are becoming more like inclusive, I guess, which is like, but then like again, me and Yitskhaq were talking about this today. Like, people are becoming inclusive, but now they're also doing this other thing, like gatekeeping. So like, so for instance, like cultural appropriation.
Ah. Okay.
So like, I mean, Yitskhaq used the example himself of like Adele when she got the box braids, and like a lot of the Caribbean community just like, or at least online Caribbean community that we saw, had to go at her. Had said like, you're appropriating my culture. You shouldn't be wearing, like, you're not black, basically. You can't wear that.
Yeah.
Like,
But that's...
and it's just like, in a way, it's like you're now like stifling diversity, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Because I thought what she did was like she's just embracing the culture.
Yeah.
I
You
think
know,
she
she
grew up
didn't.
with that
She didn't.
culture.
And she didn't mean to offend anyone by it. It's just she enjoyed it. She looked good on her. Honestly,
She enjoys it. It's like
Exactly.
It's like being a fan of something, and then and then the fan, something that you're a fan of tells you that no, you can't be a fan of it.
Yeah, like
because you don't know, you don't understand what it's like. And it's like, what?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
When I
It's
was
like-
speaking to Shads today, like she brought up a good point of saying, I think it's only offensive, or it's mainly offensive when somebody makes a profit out of it. And I think I agree with that. Like, like, and she used the example of like, what's her fucking name? The Kardashian.
Yeah.
Oh.
Kylie. Is that one of
Yeah.
them?
Kendall. With the liquor business, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and she made the like, she's making money off of something that's not even from her culture. Like, and I like, I agree with that. I don't think you should be making a profit out of it.
Kim did it as well, you know.
She probably did.
Kim?
I don't know
She
much
did the
about
box
it.
braids. She did the box braids and during the time when she had cornrows. And then everyone was like, oh my god, look, Kim's actually got cornrows, and like literally the black community was like, but like
We've had it for
always had
generations.
cornrows. Cornrows used to be like deemed upon as like bad back in the day.
Yeah, I didn't realize how bad it was in America. Like, I don't know, I don't really know much about it here. Like, it probably did happen, of course it did, but I didn't realize how bad it was in America that you would be seen as unprofessional if you had like dreads or afro hair or anything like that. And it's just
But-
like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Didn't the whole dread start with a Viking though? Right?
I don't know. I think it was ancient Greeks actually.
Is ancient Greek?
Yeah.
Ah.
Like it's quite
Egyptian.
that, and Egyptian, yeah, and Egyptian.
Yeah.
So it's just like
Because people don't comb their hair.
apparently like the reason they had it, like Egyptians, ancient Greek, and Vikings, was all because it
Yeah.
was easier to fight.
Yeah.
Mm.
So it was a lot easier to just fight with like
Mm.
with dreads. Plus, I think the way they said it was like they looked more intimidating. So
Yeah,
because
because
you
that-
get that whole
ravage.
spinning and like is that boom,
Yeah.
and the hair's going everywhere.
Imagine
So-
it's like in the battlefield.
So it's just like can we just like stop though, like doing that? Like I used the example today of Yitskhaq. I said like it's sort of like me saying that you wouldn't be able to put saffron on your rice, like because that's from my culture. Like it was so like exciting for me when I took all my friends to have Persian food. Like imagine if I just turned around and said like, nah, that's my culture, you're not allowed it.
Yeah.
That's I hate
if
it.
you're not allowed it, you shouldn't be able to buy it in restaurants or like fucking supermarkets. Like you know what I mean?
Like,
If
yeah,
it's that
means,
like not allowed.
Like
Yeah,
going,
that means any cultural like restaurant should be from their country. That's what people must.
and then that's like going a step further. It's like going a step further and saying I'm not allowed to go to Jamaica.
Yeah.
Like, you know, or I'm not allowed to go to the Philippines and try their food or try their culture. Like that's not how we should be solving this problem.
Yeah.
You know, we should be like embracing everyone, like doing that. Like unless you do it in an offensive way, I think, or making money. I think those are the only
making
two
money, yeah.
things. Like if Adele showed up to a fancy dress party like that, okay, that's offensive. Do you know what I mean?
Like what the yeah.
Because she's trying to take the piss. But if she genuinely wants to wear that sort of stuff, or like
Especially when there's
did
a
it.
carnival event, which
yeah, that's what it was for. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Exactly.
it was carnival as well. It was like she said, like she posted saying that if carnival was up, this is what I'd be wearing, pretty much. That's what she said, pretty much.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then people were like, nope, you should be wearing that. But yeah, if she didn't post that and carnival was still a thing, and she dressed up like that, no one would say anything.
Yeah.
No one would.
I don't
know
get
why
it.
it's like-
It's just because she was
Yeah.
white, like,
Yeah.
and she wasn't, you know, from the Caribbean.
From the Caribbean, yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's I don't know. I get why it happened though, because like, imagine seeing like, you know, people like the Kardashians, because they're the easiest example to make. But imagine seeing people like that they're the ones that everyone's going, you're so pretty, you're so beautiful, and they have like the features that you do, because that you were born with, but they got it through surgery.
Yeah.
Like, that's also what like Shaz was saying. It was like, you know, they sort of like, they're in air quotes making it sexy, and for some
Like
reason
the big
people,
lips, big arms,
and black people are like, well, but we've had that for years, like
Yeah,
generations.
exactly. Natural, baby.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
again, but they're all fucking a bunch of business women anyway. Like they all just want to make
Yeah.
money. That's all they're doing.
But yeah, it's
Like,
weird how they get away with it though.
It's because they're really
But-
popular. That's it.
Yeah, but then you have like people like Logic though. I was gonna say with the whole
Yeah.
mix thing, like him being like a mixed
He's
race
actually
person,
black and white mix.
but looking more like a white person because
Yeah.
with his complexion, is like blue eyes and everything.
Yeah, so he
And
gets
it-
taken, not taken
Yeah, it
seriously.
he talks about a lot in his music. Not just that, like I think Eminem as well,
Yeah.
being in like a restaurant, being like in a
Yeah, surrounded by
in
black
a
people. He
hip
said
hop
that Eminem
industry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Eminem said that him growing up, he was like the minority where he was
Exactly.
growing up.
I mean, how many lyrics did he have? Like, I still remember one really good lyric was like, you know, the only reason you're successful is because you're white. And he's like, and he starts naming all these other white rappers. Like, where are they though? Like,
Vanilla Ice.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like, no, it's not because of that. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think the statement like, oh, I don't see color is true. I think you should see color, but you just shouldn't be offended by it.
Yeah.
You know?
no, there was a quote. It's like when you say you don't see color, it's like you're basically ignoring.
Yeah,
Um,
that's true.
yeah.
You are. That's
And
exactly what you do.
And yeah,
Like I don't know. It's something you should be respected. Like different.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you both know this about me. I love food. Like if I wasn't allowed to have any other cuisines, I would fucking like I'd kill myself. It's like
God.
when I went to the Philippines, like I had Filipino food, right? It was great, but I was there for a month. At the end of the day, I wanted to have Italian. I wanted to have like other food, like pasta and stuff
Yeah.
like that, because all I was having was just one kind of dish. Like
yeah,
it was just rice and meat, basically.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's just
Filipino
like,
dish right there.
which is great. Don't get me wrong, but if I'm having it for a month, I don't know. If living in England, I've had diversity. Like, I'd
Yeah.
have spaghetti bolognese, then I would have, like, you know, I guess American, like, burgers. And, you know what I mean? It
Pizza.
just changes. Pizza.
Yeah.
God, that sounds like just such a bad diet. But that's not all I have. Like, chicken Kievs, there you go. Chicken Kievs are great. But
Just at least garlic bread.
We just stayed in Italians. That's all we did. We didn't move.
Some lasagna.
Lasagna.
Oh, good.
I don't know. But I think it was a really good question, and it did stump me today because I wasn't expecting it. But I do appreciate the question, Yitskhaq. It was very good.
You.
And it's interesting to hear like your two perspectives on it, because obviously you're both not mixed, but you must have seen it happen.
Yeah, when I said to you earlier, I was like, this is the thing that you see happen, but not many people talk about it.
It's true.
Yeah,
and that's when I was like, no, I need to actually hear other people's opinion about this, because this is the thing that is actual people's lives, how this is people's struggles.
Yeah.
Like people don't talk about, but they would rather talk about like other people's struggles, like other things that people are struggling about that are like always been talked about.
I think identity is such a big question. Like it's such a big topic because like if you don't know who you are, it's really hard to progress. With your life. And it's you got to accept yourself, and you got to accept
you don't know
like,
where you
who
stand.
You are. And then also don't just like fit into one thing, because I imagine that's I would probably bounce the question back to you guys and say, like, do you feel like you've been not forced but shoehorned into only one identity because you're a part of one culture?
Yeah, I believe I have, because just like growing up, like if I literally just focused on my family, I think my whole mindset would have been a lot different than it is now. The only reason why it's different as it is because of growing, like being like where I've been raised, the areas I've been raised, and and being in school, and being a minority and things like that. It kind of, not in secondary school. Secondary school that was the first ever time I felt like I wasn't a minority.
Okay.
But yeah, just seeing other people being in the same shoe as me, being from different races, kind of made me realize that I'm not like the only one.
Yeah, you're not the only one stuck suffering out here.
Because if I was just surrounded by just black people, I'd be thinking, oh, black people are the only ones suffering, this and that. And I think that's what happens to a lot of people.
Yeah, it's small world sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's why they advise everyone to like, travel. I think I think traveling like to different countries and stuff really does broaden the mind.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people misinterpret what people say with traveling now. So I think people just say traveling because of just for the sake of it instead of actually understanding.
Oh, it's like I mean, there's a family that I know that like when they go to a different country, they literally just stay in the hotel and that's it. Like they don't, and the food that they eat is just English.
Oh my god!
So it's like,
what is the point of you going
exactly
to holiday?
Like they go to countries like, I don't know, I guess like Egypt or anything like that, and they'll just only eat English food.
Nah, dude.
And never leave the hotel. Never.
Nah. Yeah.
So what's the point? You might as well just go to a hotel in England.
Exactly. Dude, when I went to Morocco, I literally went around like a ton of food, bunch of food, different food, and I fucking loved it. Went to different places because of tour guides, right? Like I've met like argan oil. I didn't even know that existed, honestly. And then they showed us the process and how long they've been doing it, and I was like, oh, that's really cool, and it has like health benefits. So it's like it opens your mind more. It gives you like a sense of like happiness that like you're learning something.
And I think I think that's a big issue for like people that live in North America, like America basically, is that their small world, even though it's a massive country, their small world is just limited to America, and this is America. That's
and it's everything America.
Whereas if you're a European, there's so many different cultures in just one small continent. It's really,
especially the UK.
Yeah, even in the UK. I mean, it's like quite easily to get like. I mean, I live like somewhere that's quite predominantly like Indian and Pakistani.
Yeah.
So it's like
then you go straight to Somalian.
And
it's like 5 minutes away from.
And then like you jump on a tube for like 30 minutes and it's Chinatown. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so
exactly.
It's great, and I think like that's probably what America does lack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
because I think America's like culture is just America culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, of course,
Asian American
and things like that, but like in the sense of like the whole scheme and what's been shown, it feels like it's like because like you said, because America's so big, I think that's the reason why.
Yeah, and they get caught up in their own little world. Like, America's the greatest, that sort of stuff. Like
each state doesn't have like a country culture.
No,
they have their only state culture because of what is around them.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
do. They do have like obviously different states have different like mini cultures, but it's not like say France. The difference between France and Germany,
France. Yeah.
like or something like
Look how
that.
close they are to each other.
Exactly. Like so.
Mm.
Yeah, no, I think it's been like a really interesting topic, and I thank you for coming on. But we're
Thanks for having me.
we're actually gone over like what we usually do, so it's great.
That's fine.
But
Extra minutes.
yeah. For anyone like listening, like I'd love to hear like your thoughts because it's a really
Yes.
interesting topic and like finding out like if you did struggle from like identity and stuff. But
Yeah.
we're on Spotify and YouTube. Give us a like
That's
and
nice.
subscribe if you want. I have to do this now. And we'll see you again next week. But thanks for joining me, guys.
Alright.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll see you next
And
time.
thanks for actually listening to me.
That sounds so tragic. See you guys. Bye.
See you. Bye.